Welcome to Ryan's Lost Media. So I realized I don't have a introduction video for my multiple social medias, so this is going to be my introduction so far to my YouTube channel, my Instagram pages, and so on and so forth. First off, this is Ryan's Lost Media. First off, for the name Ryan's Lost Media, the reason why I call it Lost Media, and we're going to dive into some deep mythos right now, but if I were to take my life right now, then every video that exists after that will be considered lost to the world because I wouldn't be able to make it because I would no longer be alive. So that being said, I like the idea of going on another day to create something, and this is what it comes out to. Now I do have a social media page on Instagram, Twitter, and I do have Facebook, and of course this on YouTube and on live stream. And people don't really know that much about me, so let me just explain myself real quick. I was born in 1995, and I grew up with horror movies since I was the age of 1 year old. My uncle told me that as soon as he was able to bring me, or my parents were able to take me from the hospital and I was able to open up my eyes for the first time, one of my uncles said that he was holding me while I was watching Michael Myers chase Laurie Strode. Now that's me being as a youngster. Now I'm going to show you some of the VHS movies that I grew up watching that I would purposefully put into the VHS tape that I would watch when I came home from school or when I was sick, and these movies would make me feel so badass to watch. Now these are just a couple of them, so you can know that movies I grew up with, maybe you grew up with, and whoever watches these videos in this channel could be like, oh, dude, I was watching those movies too, and oh, I've just discovered this movie. It's cool. And not only that, maybe I could introduce these movies to a new audience, a new generation. So these movies that I watched and other millions of people I've watched could have something to rewatch and to share their moments and blogs with another type of generation. So first off, of course, the Wesley Snipes Blade movie, the original. And I am a fan of comic book movies. So this content that I post on this YouTube channel, it is a lot of blogs. It has some gameplay, and I do talk about movie reviews, and I like to talk about, basically stuff that exists within the movie world that I actually give a damn about. I don't look for a story just to tell to make views. If I ever tell a story about something, it's because that genuinely irks me or bothers me, or I actually like the idea to certain movies, certain casting choices, and stuff like that. So, again, this is the stuff I grew up with. This is a classic VHS era of Captain America, an animated Marvel. Marvel did do animation early in the years of VHS, such as this one right here, Spider-Man versus Daredevil. This is from the animated series of Spider-Man. It's because I grew up with these. I remember there was Blockbuster. Some people don't remember Blockbuster, but I remember going to Blockbuster and getting these videos. My parents would get them for me. Every time my parents would let me get a video when they picked one, I would pick, for example, something like this. So I would pick Spider-Man, the animated series VHS movies, and my parents would pick like No Vacancy or The Strangers, or they would pick a Leprechaun movie. You know what I mean? And then over time, they would buy those movies, and I would have my VHS movie with. Oh, what I'm talking about, Blockbuster. You didn't just have to rent movie, people. I've seen my parents would buy those movies, and then I'll get the VHS movies, and then my parents' movies became my movies too. And then that's where we're at right here. See, and I got more Spider-Man versus Doc Ock. A lot of Spider-Man related stuff. And of course, I also grew up with the original Spawn movie with Michael Jai White. And John Leguizamo. I grew up watching The Violator and Spawn. Dirty language. Growing up with South Park, like this classic dark humor that was within the 90s, where it was just fun to insult people, and sometimes it still is fun to mess around with people, but people take insults differently, whatever. But you know who doesn't give a damn about insults, who doesn't care if you get offended, is this guy right here, known as Chucky, or Charles Lee Ray. Growing up with Chucky, so damn cool and creepy to know that there was a doll that could become alive, because when you're a little kid, and I used to do this thing where I used to look at my toys that were set up in shelves, and the shadows of the figures looked like they were moving, and I consider them guardian angels. So that being said, the idea of a dog could come back to life and I was a kid, and I was bonding with Andy Barclay's character because we were both young at that age. So I was watching this movie when I was like just very young. This movie came out in 1990. Oh, this movie came out in 1988. But I was probably watching it around what 4 years old, 5 years old. Like I was watching this movie very young, people. And also another movie that I was watching very young that scarred me a little bit was the Evil Dead movies with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. Classic VHS movie to have if you are from, of course from the 80s, but if you also grew up in the 90s with VHS era and you were a horror fan, you had to have Evil Dead in your collection or else you were a poser. So I didn't grow up with posers when it comes to horror movies. We lived for horror movies. And of course, also my parents used to pick up the most badass cool movies. My parents knew horror icons when they'd seen horror icons, such as this guy right here, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, VHS era. Honestly, my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movies, when I was younger, I used to say it was Dream Warriors, but the more mature I got older, and I would rewatch the first Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was actually freaking creepy, dude. The tone of the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, actually scary. When it comes to more being scared, Michael Myers in the original Halloween, and I remember this cover used to freak me out as a little kid. I was like 4 years old, looking at these movies, discovering them for the first time. Maybe 7 years old. The point is, people, I was looking at these movies before I was 10, and definitely 4 and after 5. Let's just say to be safe, I was at least 5 years old, and I was under 10 when I discovered every single movie that I'm about to show you in this video. And I still grew up watching these movies to the point where I have now gotten them in 4K, because that's another thing I like to do with these movies. I like to show the 4K versions to their Blu-ray versions, and they came from their DVD, from their VHS, and I like to show all that stuff. I do like, as you can tell by my aesthetic, I do like these neon light type of gothic setting, and some of it comes out when I watch Sleepy Hollow, because Sleepy Hollow, a Tim Burton film, it's a gothic movie, and I do like, well, obviously I like to wear all black clothing, but Sleepy Hollow, part of my vibe. And to more of my vibe, as you know I do have Mexican heritage, is I grew up watching Robert Rodriguez movies such as From Dusk Till Dawn, El Mariachi, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and so on and so forth. And I remember just every time I put on From Dusk Till Dawn, just discovering who Quentin Tarantino is based on my parents would tell me who he is. So to see another writer in a movie along with George Clooney, who I grew up watching as Batman, so to see someone go from Batman to playing this, such a badass thing to witness. And also my great respects to Brandon Lee, also known as The Crow. This is his VHS tape. But besides that, this is going to be some sort of my intro video. So those right there were some of the VHS movies I have, and the idea of why I do movie reviews and the 4K comparisons, and I even do gameplay of certain movies and certain games, should I say, such as Dead by Daylight. This right here is a long collectible I wanted to show off. It's the Dead by Daylight collectible for G Fuel and Dead by Daylight. So I like to show that off because I like the idea of G Fuel. I like caffeinated drinks because I do like to be active, and I like to post and stay up at night editing videos and stuff like that, such as my live streams, my friends and subscribers. And folks, I like to live stream late at night. I've always liked the idea of a late night show. I am a bit of a night bird, which means I like to stay up at night. And other stuff that I should talk about in my introduction is this setup that I have right here. I do have a green screen, although this right here is not a green screen. This is the couch that's in my room where I feel comfortable sitting in and just talking and making blogs, making a podcast and stuff like that. And this is what I like to change, and it is a poster that I have gotten or I have purchased from Shelf Factory. And so every now and then I like to get a new horror related poster and change it as my background. But for right now, I was feeling the Cult of Chucky, so I have Cult of Chucky in the background, and this is just sort of a vibe right here. When it comes to donations and stuff like that, I do plan on opening a PayPal and maybe other types of donations, doing a Patreon and stuff like that. And the reason why, some people may think of, why should I donate to this person? Or Ryan, what would you like to do with your money? Uh, to be quite honest, people, I've always liked the idea of maybe creating my own movie, a little short indie film, just because I want to create a slasher movie because I grew up with slashers. So I like to make an homage movie to the horror industry. And now with that being said, that comes with funding actors, actresses, hair and makeup, the wardrobe, the catering, the making it a physical format. Cause I do like the idea of making physical media, and also do like the idea of making shirts and clothing. Because when I start making money on YouTube, and I do plan on, obviously do like to make some sort of money online, is I would like to fund my own projects. And so the money I do make, I would like to add it to my production as well. Like I would like to get a more HD camera, PC, so I can make more content and just overall buy stuff that will make me want to just start saying, all right, what else could we do with this new equipment? Because I like the idea of buying equipment, to be honest. So with that being said, this could be my introduction for like my first year on YouTube. But this is not my first channel, so let's talk about other channels. I used to go by a name OG Cosmic Joker, but however, the first time I tried to get monetized on YouTube, they said that I was using repetitive content, and I did see what they mean by that, because my content was just has no intro, no outro, it was just me talking. So I deleted that channel and I made another channel, and that channel told me when I tried to get monetized that I was using other people's content, which I wasn't, and then I couldn't get monetized on that channel because they said I was using other people's content, which I wasn't. I was using fresh content, but then I started realizing that YouTube rules that you had to present your own audio, an intro, a possible outro to your videos, and to make sure you show your face and stuff like that. So I started getting more comfortable behind the camera, started getting more vocal as I do with my blogs, because to be honest, people, whenever I do Ryan's Lost blogs, I consider it vocal training, because whenever I want to do a podcast, you got to talk for at least an hour to 2 hours, depending, at least a solid hour. And also like the idea of training myself to be able to speak for more than just 5-10 seconds, because people like to cut their content every 5 seconds. And what that tells me is that you can't be entertaining for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour straight. You can't be entertaining for more than 5 seconds, because these content creators are always adding cuts. So that's going to be sort of my introduction. I grew up with horror, comic books, violence, movies, stuff like that, horror related classic imagery, and it still sticks with me to this day. And finding out that I could now record my thoughts, put together a video, and share with people, and I think that's freaking awesome. And also, there's a video game called Dead by Daylight where you can play as some of these favorite iconic slashers, such as Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Ghostface, and Chucky and Tiffany, and there's just so much people that are in this Dead by Daylight video game that I think it's worth playing, showing clips, and just the idea of playing any video game where you could clip something that you like and show with people around the world, and hopefully they like it too, to the point where they say, hey, you know what, I'm going to subscribe and like to this person. So that's going to be the end of this video. I think it's a worthy introduction to about me. So yeah, this is a horror gaming page with comic book content, and a person that likes to talk about such and such material that's about that. So that being said, this is Ryan's Lost Media. I would say subscribe if you grew up with horror movies. If you're a fan of horror movies, maybe we could communicate with each other. As of right now, I do plan on expanding my YouTube presence, social media presence, and stuff like that. So if anybody is watching this, I want to say thank you for watching. Please subscribe. And overall, I want to be entertaining. I want to show off the stuff that I think is cool. And if I can make some money off of this, then I get to fund other projects that I've had wanted to do for a while. So anything's possible. Some stuff could be possible. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But that being said, this is Ryan's Lost Media. Peace out. And this could be my introduction video. Thank you for watching. Once again, I would like to say thank you for watching.